What does this have to do with this? In this video, we're going to be explaining Mongoose style, or one way to crack an opponent with a strong defense. So let's get into it. First of all, for those of you who didn't watch Discovery Channel or Animal Planet, if that's still a thing, when you were a kid, a mongoose is basically a fancy death weasel. They're probably most famous for their ability to hunt and kill dangerous venomous snakes, like cobras and black mambas. How do these little guys do this? Well, the first reason is that they are one of 4 known mammalian taxa with mutations in the nicotinic acetylcholine receptor, which help them survive snake venom by preventing the neurotoxin from binding. While this sure is a neat little fact, it doesn't really help us with our fencing. What we can take from mongoose is its fighting style. You'll notice in this video, the mongoose circles around the serpent on the periphery of its striking distance. The snake is fast, but the mongoose dips in and out of its striking distance, threatening from different angles, sneaking either close enough to bite, or provoking the snake to strike from too far away, giving it time to react, dodge, and bite its neck. In fencing, we can't dance circles around our opponent because we're only allowed to move forward and backward, but we can jump in and out of distance. Here we're going to touch on some of the concepts from our previous videos, namely distance, stances, and tempo, and compare them to how the mongoose does things. Just to recap for those that missed those videos, there are 3 kinds of distance. Number 1 is striking distance, the distance you can strike. Careful though, if you can strike your opponent, it normally means they can strike you too. Number 2 is critical distance. This is the distance just outside of striking distance. From here, we are defended, but we can also provoke our opponent by crossing into striking distance, making it useful to set up actions. This is the distance we recommend fencing. Number 3 is preparation, or far distance. Simply put, both fencers are too far away to realistically hit one another. While it's true that you could potentially rush in if your opponent is unsuspecting or asleep or something, realistically, they're going to have time to defend, and this is true the other way around. If they attack you, you're going to have time to do something. As we can see here, the mongoose knows this too, instinctively staying at a distance where any advances it makes towards the snake keep it scared. Both animals know this fight can be over in an instant, just like a fencing touch. Now let's get into stances. As we stated in our video on the subject, different stances have different advantages and disadvantages. Classic en garde offers a good balance of techniques and options. However, jumping from classic en garde is different from the hop that we're going to cover in this video. To do the mongoose hop, we're going to change our en garde position into what we call the mongoose stance. Our balance is the same as an en garde, with our hips flat and centered between both of our legs. The difference is that we're sitting a little bit higher, and to compensate, our legs and feet are going to be slightly further apart, winding our stance, while we shift our weight to the balls of our feet as we can see my brother doing here. Notice that he's no longer putting his heels on the floor. The cost of mongoose stance is that it becomes harder, albeit not impossible, to add tempos, like you might have seen in some of our previous videos with the heel steps and half steps. It also may cost you more energy and stamina to maintain this position on the balls of your feet while constantly jumping. Note, the smaller jumps, the better, because the less time in the air means the less of a chance for your opponent to catch you off guard. If you don't believe us, let's take a few looks at some examples on the senior circuit. Here we can see Lee and Itkin, aka the People's Champ, in the CIP 2019 competition. Itkin boasts one of the strongest defenses in the circuit. However, Lee is able to break through by doing small little movements. Even when Itkin finds the blade, he can't really punish it because Lee is already on 1 tempo ahead, jumping back ready to retake. The cool thing about mongoose style is that it can also serve as a defensive option. In this example, Lee crosses into and out of Itkin's distance while retreating. In the first phrase, Lee pushes forward, but Itkin reclaims right of way. This time, however, when he crosses into Itkin's striking distance, he immediately strikes forward, knowing that Itkin was probably ready for a longer chase. It's important to remember that the point of this video isn't to jump around like a madman. If you watch the rest of the bout, both fencers are constantly changing what they are doing. Rather, the point is that this is an option that exists, and we hope that you can use it to expand your repertoire. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to support us and learn some exercises that you can use to train mongoose style, hit us up via email.